Right, what is good, my people? It's Daniel FX here. Welcome back to the channel. I am in the bathrobe of truth, and today we're going to be doing another weekly breakdown video. You guys seem to love these, so I'm going to keep them coming each and every week. And once again, we're doing the indices, nasdaq, German 30 and US 30, as well as the dollar index and a couple of the major pairs. Now, if you've been paying attention, the past 2 weeks I've called it pretty well. Even last week I called nasdaq shorts and US 30 shorts. Again, in the learn and earn, we didn't necessarily take too many trades because it was pretty choppy on a smaller time frame, the 5 and 15, but overall the bias was correct. Price moved in the direction I thought it would, and it's setting us up pretty nicely for this week. Again, I'm personally anticipating dollar strength, and I'm anticipating the indices to weaken, nasdaq to short, US 30 to short, German 30 to short. But yeah, without further ado, let's run the intro and we'll hop into the chart. All right, cool. So now that we're actually in the charts, let's go ahead and start the analysis. We're currently sitting here on the dollar, USD, DXY, literally the most important chart in all of trading. I say this time and time and time again, but if you want to be a good trader, you need to start correlating your trades with the dollar. It's so essential, whether or not you're trading the major pairs, GU, EU, AU, or you're trading the indices like me. It's super important to understand whether or not the dollar is strengthening or weakening, because it will give you a solid directional bias for that week, and it will give you a clearer picture of what you should be expecting from price action. Now, granted, don't go ahead and start analyzing this on a 5-minute, on a 15-minute. You need to be using much higher time frames, the 1H, the 4H, the daily, etc. But furthermore, I just like to use the daily. Now, right here, just starting purely based off a candlestick behavior, look at the previous 4 days of price action here in the dollar. Well, you can see that we've been strengthening. We've been pretty bullish. The weekly candle has actually expanded to the upside. We've broken previous structural highs that we left last week. It makes sense for us to get a continuation move. Now, again, we may pull back here on Monday slightly. I wouldn't be surprised if we leave maybe a small indecision, but I would say ultimately we're coming to strengthen and come further up. If you look right here to the left where I've got these two beams, there's a blatant inefficiency. Oh, I just moved it. Yeah, blatant inefficiency right here between these two candles where the market previously gapped. We need to come up and fill that inefficiency back in. Shout out to ICT for pointing that one out. Now, yeah, pretty much it. There's not too much else to it. Dollar bias, dollar strength, which should mean GU shorts, EU shorts, any major pairs are shorting, as well as the indices. Now, taking this same information to the one and only US 30, you can see that I have a red box drawn right here. If I actually scale down into a smaller time frame, the reason I've got this red box here is to remind me not to trade this price action, because pretty blatantly we were consolidating, and you can see this actually went on for 3 days, or 2 days actually, Wednesday, Thursday, and towards the end of Friday we actually did break out, but price was super choppy. Now, it's so important that you guys remember to just not trade when price is doing this kind of stuff, because it's so difficult to actually get good positions in here. It's so difficult to set a good target, to not get retraced on, to not get stopped out on a silly position when you're trading in a range and consolidating market. So you always want to try and hold on to as much capital as possible, hold on to as much percentage in your account as you can for when price is actually moving nicely, so you can catch the actual nice proper moves. Now, right here on the, not the dollar, on US 30, what I'm kind of anticipating to happen is I want to see this next week continue to the downside and actually begin to break some of these structural lows right here. There's a lot of sell side liquidity that I reckon we're going to be taking out here very shortly. Again, we may have a retracement Monday, a pullback on Tuesday, whatever, but I'm saying later on towards the week we're definitely going to be headed down. And I would say a nice little target, obviously dependent on the amount of volume we get, but a nice target would be like 32 flat. It's a nice big psychological level for price to come down to, and then whatever happens from there, we'll see. Again, I'm not trying to predict the market, simply react, but definitely looking for some bearish price action, looking for continuations, which means when price opens up on Monday, I'm looking to short the market. If I scale in slightly, I can draw a little key level for you guys. Simply right here, based off of the previous area of liquidity that got taken, previous structural lows, you could draw in a nice key level. Price is currently in the process of retracing that, and you see it kind of lines up right here with the previous structure that we left. So it'll be a nice level for price to open up around. I reckon Monday will most likely either just proceed to consolidate around this level, or will actually break back into this structure before breaking out for Tuesday, Wednesday. That's my personal prediction. Again, super dependent, but I would be looking at this kind of general area about 32,800 flat, maybe a little bit higher, call it 32,850 flat to retest previous structure and continue to the downside. Now, taking all of that to the NASDAQ, to NAS 100, if we zoom out a little bit here to the daily, again, NAS is still holding much more bullishly than US 30. US 30 is already broken a lot of downside structure. If you see right here on NAS, technically speaking, granted, we did break the structural low right here. I would say that is the break of structure. I would say we are currently in a downtrend, but there are still a couple major levels down here that are still yet to be broken. But I think this next week we'll probably break those lows. I reckon once again, we're going to proceed to consolidate here on a Monday, maybe pull back slightly because again, NAS is slightly more bullish before we calm down and actually begin to take out some of this sell side liquidity and some of these structural lows right here. Now, in my opinion, once again, a good target for NAS this next week would be back down here at 1116. Didn't say that number correctly, but you guys know what I'm talking about. 11,600 right here would be a nice structural low for price to come back to. And again, whether or not next week, the following week, maybe we want to weaken on the dollar and actually continue back bullish, we may do something like this. But again, that's not my concern. We're not trying to predict price action. We're simply looking at this coming week. The most likely, the most probable area for price to end its week on would be down here. So again, coming into Monday, I'd be looking for price to pull back, most likely have a consolidation day, maybe fill out some imbalances that we left on Friday. But I would say a most high probability likelihood that we retrace to, level that we would actually come back to would be 1200 flat. Again, I'm not saying we're going to come here to the pip and then reject. Like, we'll probably pull back deeper, especially Monday tends to be a little bit choppy on the indices. But most likely, I would say that's the bare minimum level we'd pull back to before we actually begin a short move back to the downside once again to take out structural lows. So same bias for US 30. I would say US 30 in this instance is actually much cleaner to trade. There's much nicer price action, and we've actually fully broken out this consolidated period in comparison to the NASDAQ, which low-key has broken out, but it's still kind of at a major key level where it could reject, it could kind of hold a little bit. So I would say, at least for the start of the week, I'm much more interested in US 30 because we have spent much longer consolidating here, which means doesn't really mean much, but just from a behavioral standpoint of view, typically speaking, when price consolidates, the breakout tends to be much bigger, and the lengthier the consolidation, the larger the impulsive move or the larger the breakout once it does occur. Again, not guaranteed, but just from my personal experience, be sure to go ahead and backtest that. Taking all of this information here to German 30. German 30, once again, I've still got that red box similar to what I had on US 30. And you can see we're low-key still in that same kind of region. We really didn't do much this past week. We've been here since the start of February, which is absolutely it's appalling. It's honestly appalling price action. But if I were to predict what price are going to do, again, I would just assume that price are going to follow suit with NASDAQ and US 30 and continue to the downside, maybe take out some of the sell side liquidity right here and come further down. But to be honest, I'm really not too focused on German 30 at the moment, simply because it's still very much stuck in that range. And until it breaks out of this kind of general area, I'm really not looking at it too tough. But again, if I were to make a bet or make a prediction, I would say most likely the end of next week would be down here at 14,900 flat kind of general region after we take out liquidity. But my knowledge about German 30 is that we tend to hold a little bit better. So once again, if we do happen to get a consolidated period or a consolidated week where price moves sideways, more than likely German 30 will be slightly more bullish than bearish. But ultimately, just purely due to the dollar strength that we're going to be seeing this next week, I'll be anticipating overall shorts and for structural lows to be taken out. Now, cool. Now, last but not least, coming right here to the pound dollar. Again, I don't trade the Forex pairs, so I'm not too familiar with characteristics and how price action tends to move. But I'm just going to give you guys a rough idea of what you kind of be anticipating on the pound dollar. Again, the pound dollar, granted that we continue to strengthen on the dollar, GBP USD should be shorting. Again, lots of things could happen. Yeah, so we definitely could see some crazy pound strength that may push price up. There's a lot of variables that go into trading the Forex pairs, but more than likely, if we just open up on Monday, standard price action, no high impact news, we will most likely be shorting. Again, for the rest of the week, I'll be looking for these structural lows to be taken out. Obviously, your first target right here would be this structural low. More than likely, the Monday candle will probably wick this one out. And then towards the rest of the week, you're looking for this structural low right here, or the lowest point that we set in January to be taken out. Again, towards the end of next week, I would definitely, again, granted on depending on what the pound does, I would say more than likely you're looking for 1.1800 right here, flat to get taken out at the bare minimum. In terms of lower time frame price action, again, to me, this looks much more choppy than what we're currently seeing on the indices a little bit. But again, I would be looking for this structural point right here to be broken below, which I understand we kind of already have done that, but I'd be looking for price to pull back on Monday and then proceed to consolidate, break back below, continue lower. Again, could be entirely wrong. I'm not a GBP USD trader, so let me know in the comments if you don't think that I'm correct, but let's just see. But yeah, one thing's for sure is that more than likely we're getting a bearish week here on pound USD. You can see the previous weekly candles. We've had 2 depletion candles followed by a bearish sentiment candle. Like, come on, just basic price action, basic candlestick behavior. This right here is telling you that price is not wanting to push up. If you look at the previous couple of weeks, price created a high in the market, came up, tried to break that structural high. We failed to break structural highs, came down, created a new low. Once again, came up, tried to create a new structural high, failed to break it, came back down, created a new low. Like, come on. If this is not telling you to short, I don't know what is. If you're looking to buy next week, may the markets have mercy on you. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed another weekly breakdown video. I'm going to keep these coming. I'm about to go edit this and get this all uploaded, so hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Or if you're in the learn and earn, I'm going to see you in there. See.